Hi, my name is Daniel Kim, and this is my video presentation in connection with the critical assignment based upon the textbook Presenting to Win that was assigned throughout this course. Organizational leaders have to be aware of the various different skills and research available to them to be the best organizational leaders as possible. The Presenting to Win text, written by Jerry Wiseman, talks in depth about the different skills and aptitudes organizational leaders have to utilize to deliver speeches in connection with the organization and its ongoing initiatives. One of the first concepts that was identified was the concept of WIIFY and WIIFY triggers. The definition of WIIFY means what's in it for you, and especially relevant when delivering speeches to an audience to be able to capture the attention of your audience. When it comes to delivering speeches, it is often compared to a simple human skill of speaking. However, a great deal of preparation is actually part of a successful speech, especially the ones that capture your audience and leaving them with the ahas and the wows at the end. This is why the greatest organizational leaders use a great deal of time preparing for these presentations rather than just trying to wing it. How does one prepare for a presentation to be able to capture the ahas and the wows? A presentation where the audience is lost and the point is not driven across to the minds of the audience is a waste of time for the audience, the presenter, and the organization. Therefore, it is absolutely important to ensure to check the boxes off on these WIIFY triggers. So what are these WIIFY triggers? Well, they are, this is important to you because, what does this mean to you? Or why am I telling you this? Who cares? So what? And. So these are the questions and points your audience is seeking to have fulfilled during the presentation. We, as human beings, are selfish by nature and are always wondering how something will benefit them, or how something is important to them because of XYZ. Given that there are needs to be met with each audience you are presenting to, it is important to ensure that a presenter takes adequate time to make the proper preparations for the presentations before delivering a speech, and especially touching on the WIIFY triggers. Given that you know the WIIFY triggers to your next presentation, you are now ready to deliver the most breathtaking speech you have ever delivered. However, the presentation preparation phase is not as simple as just determining these triggers. You can create the most effective presentation highlighting all WIIFY triggers, but if you don't know who your audience is, you're making one of the most cardinal sins when it comes to delivering presentations. An effective presenter will take the time to understand his audience that is presenting to, what their interests are, which problems arise most for your audience, and any biases that are held amongst the audience and the goals and dreams that they aspire to. Simply put, you would have to alter your presentation to be able to hit the boxes, the check boxes of all of these needs of your audience. And if you need to revise your presentation to ensure that you're hitting on these points, that is what a great presenter will do. Now, once the presentation has been delivered, 99.9% of the time is usually in the form of a round of applause. This is due to having simple courtesy towards the presenter unless the presentation was an absolute disaster. And that may not even yield in any round of applause. I personally have been on the side where the presentation was a failure and there was an awkward silence at the end, and that is something that you do not want to be part of your presentation. So how can you prevent that from happening? Well, the textbook also describes that a good presenter will typically open a presentation with a gambit. A gambit can consist of the following. It can either be a question, it can be a factoid, a retrospective or a perspective, anecdote, quotation, aphorism, or an analogy. One example of having the right opening gambit to a presentation is to open with a question. By opening with a question, it involves the audience immediately, and the audience is wondering how that question will tie into your presentation. So now you have them wondering how that question is going to tie into your presentation. You have engaged your audience immediately before your presentation has even begun, and you should be able to have a little bit more attention from them to be able to hit the needs that they are seeking. Now, It is also important to realize as we grow in our professional careers, we want to be as successful as possible. And given that we know these terms of WIIFY and opening gambits and all these ancillary things to deliver a effective presentation, we need to ensure that we also follow the Bible and ensure that we are ethical when we are conducting business and trying to grow and climb up the corporate ladder. Many times, people who are trying to succeed will do things that are considered unethical, whether it's throwing one of your teammates under the bus or taking credit for somebody else's work just so you can try to get ahead a little bit. However, however, we need to ensure that we are ethical even when we're learning about these concepts and growing in our professional careers, and always conduct ourselves professionally in a way that would be pleasing in the eyes of God, and to ensure that we are always a good example to our peers, our colleagues, and our subordinates. With knowing all of these different concepts, I know it will foster a positive change in my professional career. However, I am not going to take advantage of it, and I am still going to conduct myself ethically and just try to determine what the needs of my audiences are before delivering a presentation to be able to deliver an overall more effective presentation. Thank you.